Hey guys, it's your host Eric. Before you get to the show, I want to give you a little extended spoiler warning. We get into some spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2 in one section of this Spoilercast. The Spoilercast is meant to be just for the HBO show Season 1, but we had to get into Part 2 of the video game. So if you're waiting till Season 2 of the show comes out to kind of see what happens to Joel and Ellie and in the future, we spoil a little of that. So watch out from about the 55-minute point to the 1 hour and 2 minute point. So just skip ahead and you'll miss all those spoilers. Otherwise, it's all about the first season. All right, guys, enjoy the show. Hey there, it's the Machine of Nonsense, episode 119, and we're talking The Last of Us. HBO's Last of Us adaptation just wrapped its finale the other day, so we're here to spoil it. If you haven't seen it, stop this, go see it, because we're going to spoil it. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Kayla.
Crickets.
Hey.
Wait, is it just her mic again?
I think that's unusual.
No. She's actually not here right now. Yeah, that gag. I've been working on that gag all day.
3 weeks running. All right.
Yes. We had a big setup for that gag. No, Kayla will be around in just a while, but until then, it's a boys' night. Mike's on the pod.
Oh. Tell me, Eric, do you believe things happen for a reason?
Ooh.
I don't, but I do believe that Tomas is here for a reason.
That's right. I'm here. I'm not queer, but still want you to get used to it. I just want to make
Maybe
a little
by
note.
the end of this, we'll see.
I could in the friend zone again.
Okay. I just want to say when you said HBO, my brain immediately filled that O with a K.
Yes. HBK's adaptation of The Last of Us. It's a one-man show he puts on Broadway. It's not good, but it's
Oh, imagine sweet chin. No, well, I don't want to spoil the ending so early, but we'll bring it up. Remind me to bring up HBK.
I would sign up for that.
All right, before we get to HBK's The Last of Us,
Making notes.
It's been a while since Tomas has been on this pod. It's been, I don't know, forever. What you been up
feels
to,
like
man?
it. Life. Where to begin? My car died on me. The old Camry. I had to put her down. So took her to the shop. Didn't like the sticker price of what they were saying, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, just gonna shop for a new car. And then top of that, just been working way too much, but I did go to Disney. That was pretty fun. Got to flex with the Gaston statue in front of his bar. That was pretty good. Yeah, it was a good way to top off a real shitty week prior. And then as far as media, just been watching this show that we're about to talk about. Have been watching this weird Australian sitcom called Kath and Kim.
Okay.
Jackie stumbled upon it. It's kind of funny. But and video game wise, I get stuck like in the sunk hole. Like I've been on a Metroid kick, but like not like.
Ooh.
So I played Fusion. Because it was just easier for me to play. And after playing Fusion, I was like, man, kind of want to play Dread again. So I'm like in the middle of Dread.
Nice.
I started Prime for a bit. It's not that I dislike it. It's just I'm a 2D Metroid guy. It's a little hard for me to adjust to like the map kind of thing. When you just want to bomb like every corner of the map, you don't get too far. So,
the map in Metroid. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
It's like the prototype of the Resident Evil 2 remake map. It's not there completely. It's
Not quite.
It's cool to have like this 3D map that you can move around, but
Yeah.
it has none of the quality of life stuff that
Yeah.
like RE2 has.
That's the best map in video games, though.
Tell
RE2
me if
remake.
I'm done with this big fucking space right now. I think it's the best part of the game.
Great map.
No, that's cool. You know what? Having played Dread, because Dread's fucking massive for a 2D Metroid as well, but they at least tell you a percentage of the shit you still need to find in an area. I like that quality of life kind of thing. Yeah. But some of the shit in that game is just like, we're talking like speedrunner levels of like technique to get some of the items in that game. Like I was like looking up like guides and shit. I'm like, nah, I'm just never gonna get that. I'm just never gonna 100% this game.
I gave up on so many of those.
Yeah, I think I got like 7 energy tanks by the end of the game, and I was just like, it's gonna be good enough to beat this game. But yeah, other than that, yeah, just glad to be on. Sorry, I've been a little, AWOL for a second there, but
hey, all right, you were
good
in
to be
the
home.
the most magical place on Earth. I mean, come on, this
Welcome
pod's
to
not the
Earth.
most magical place on Earth.
I forgive you.
We're like second.
I miss you guys. Listen to Mike kill it on Legally Distinct.
Oh yes, Mike was quite good.
There was a couple of those questions
baby.
where I was dying, like just waiting for you guys to answer on some of those. Like, might have actually did good on that one, but
it was a good one.
Wasn't there.
It was fun. It's so fun putting those together. Yeah, I guess I'll go next. What I've been up to, not a heck of a lot in terms of video games. Kayla just finished Hogwarts last night, Hogwarts Legacy.
Ooh.
A solid 52 hours, I think. And
God
there's
damn.
still a lot of like side stuff and stuff. I think I'm gonna jump into Atomic Heart next. I think now I get the sticks, and I'm gonna do some Atomic Heart. Went from one problematic property to another. That's real nice.
Hell yeah.
But I'm still excited. We saw a bunch of movies though. We saw 65, the Adam Driver vehicle. I think I actually liked it a little bit better than her. Going into it, she was like super pumped, and I think
that was her top thing for this month.
She was so excited, and I think maybe like her hype level should have been maybe more mid. That is such a like throwback action like sci-fi type movie. It feels like just it could have come out in like 1995 and like just
balls to the walls.
But I dug it. I thought it's like an hour and a half. It's snappy, it's quick. There's just like the two characters the whole time. It's like Adam Driver and this little girl. It's very much a Lone Wolf and Cub, Last of Us kind of story. But
Terminator 2.
The premise is good enough. Like it's just like, two people land on a planet that is hostile, and there's dinosaurs, and there's also like a bunch of bugs and shit too, like creepy. There's like they do some kind of body horror stuff at points. Ooh. And I don't know. It's just a fun ass time. I think Kayla dug it, but I think I dug it a little bit more.
Was it the dinosaurs, Eric?
I thought that their dinosaur design was pretty good. Like they were definitely like CGI as opposed to like practical effects or anything. But like they were just more like reptilian than like even the Jurassic Park dinosaurs. So I thought it like separated them. Like they looked unique. It wasn't like they were just aping off of the millions of dinosaurs we've seen in Jurassic Park. So
they were legally distinct.
I think so. And then we also saw Scream, which was Scream 6, I guess. Really good one. Another one that just like was really moving. There's some jank in that movie, like there are in all the Scream movies. If you're there for like their little meta stuff, and they're kind of like, don't do that. You're silly for doing that, like kind of stuff, like just classic horror movie stuff. It's really good. There's some good kills. There's the twist at the end is like believable adjacent, and they do enough like unique stuff with the setting. They're in New York instead of California this time. And and they make it kind of like the reason why they're in New York and stuff makes sense. It was just a real fun movie all around.
Nice.
There's a really cool scene on a train. They've showed it a little bit in the trailer, but it uses the New York subway and stuff the way it should. Guys, Kayla's here. Kayla, I was just talking about 65 and Scream, and how much I think I enjoyed 65 a little bit more than you. What was your take on 65?
It's kind of slow. It just doesn't have like as much exciting stuff as I wanted.
I thought it was just like breezy because it's so short, like.
Yeah, that helps, but I don't know. It wasn't as. I feel like it had.
And that's
so
like a
much
lean
potential.
90-minute movie, right?
Yeah.
No fat.
I guess there wasn't like a ton of action for sections, so that makes sense. They had to set up like Adam Driver's whole motivation for like being out there and stuff. I thought it was done pretty well. But Scream, I thought that was
I
fantastic.
liked Scream more. I liked Scream more than I liked 65. Scream was cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
I want to see both of those.
really
Yeah,
highlighted.
I think they're both worth watching.
I was a big fan of what's her name? Sam in it.
Sam's the older sister.
Right? Yeah, she's like Wednesday.
No,
Jenna
that's
Ortega's like
Ortega.
older sister, like in the
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega's older sister.
Have you
And,
seen 5?
Soon to be rumored daughter of Lydia in Beetlejuice.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Lydia Dietz.
Have you seen Scream 5?
Mike
Nope.
did, right?
Like the one from last year?
Yeah,
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
because
I thought that was okay.
Sam is Billy's daughter.
What?
No way.
Whoa.
That was in 5. That's not even a spoiler. But they do cool things with that. I think they
I
did,
know
they
Billy
did a better
Loomis.
job in this one, I think, with that making mattering. That
Yeah.
the parentage mattering and stuff like that. So
That's kind of cool. I could dig that.
Yeah.
Is there a Lillard offspring?
there's a
Find out.
The 14th ghost.
There's a little. Yeah, you'll find out. Go see it.
14th ghost face.
Scooby. Dooby.
Was that it, Kayla?
All right,
I
is
said
it my
we
turn?
finished Hogwarts. We saw 65. We saw Scream. Is that it?
Yeah, that's
the new
it.
stuff. You've been checking out The Good Place. Mike, you can speak
Yeah.
on The Good
Ooh.
Place.
That was a Mikey
That
liked
show
the
is
right?
good.
I'm
Never finished the last season, but I really like it.
I'm close to being done with season 2.
Nice. Oh, Elena. That's a good show.
Yeah.
They wasted Cheetah and Ant-Man. I was pissed off about that. But
Yeah, I remember him being in Ant-Man. Definitely.
Right. He didn't have a
I
big
don't.
role at all. He was like the guy who could read people's minds.
He
Or
was.
thoughts.
You're right. Okay.
That was Cheetah.
I see
I think
that.
the fact that me and Kayla are both like, oh, right, probably
Right.
says something.
People thought
Left
like,
in a
oh
practice.
man, is he gonna be like one of the Reed Richards like variants? And like people thought he was gonna be
He's gonna be big shit.
something, and they squandered such a cool dude. Oh well. All right, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Cool. Tomas, did you play an RE5 demo or RE4 demo? I mean,
No, I haven't, man.
oh man.
I will play the game proper.
Okay, I know Eric's going dark.
Go
You guys
dark?
mind if I talk about it? Like,
Oh, you can talk.
Yeah,
about
go
it.
ahead.
I played the
What,
game.
it's the game's gonna be different.
well, it's just like my worries about the game were completely clear.
Alleviated. Nice.
I thought the combat felt really good.
Did
It
you get
felt
your head
like-
chopped off with the chainsaw?
No, he will impale you.
Ooh.
To get a decapitation kill, I've seen is very like you have to have a Ganado grab you from behind,
Oh, fuck.
and then have a hatchet guy do like hit you while you're grabbed. Like it's a really weird setup to do that one.
Complicated, huh?
I did a cool I had like knife through the face, or no, they introduced the what are they, the tentacle things,
The Plagas.
really quickly,
Mhm.
at least in the demo, because it impaled me right through the face.
Oh, man.
Like it was.
I mean, I'm excited about these kills now.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I can't wait to see more of those. Even though I'm never gonna die again, I just did it for the demo. You know, just mess around.
Don't worry, I'll tell you about them. Like,
Thank you.
gonna play a
But-
professional first thing.
Yeah.
Man, it was, the opening is a little different, a lot different actually.
Did they say the bingo line?
The demo ends with the bell ringing. Oh, and it's so cool because the village. Let me back up a bit from that, because the village part, once you get there, it's so because I'm replaying RE4 proper, the old one, right now,
Already did that.
and the village in this one is just so much more intense than that original one. I died the first time I tried it. I tried my I normally just post up on a roof and bottleneck them in, and man,
Post up like a fool.
they're just they get like, they're just fucking vicious, man. Like the villagers when they're coming at you. And Dr. Salvatore or whatever, the chainsaw guy is intense as well.
Do they let you set a difficulty like setting on the demo?
There is, I think maybe not. No, I only played it once. I know there's like a super secret difficult mode
Oh.
that you can get. And there's a secret weapon you can get, but I did not get that.
Yeah.
And but no, like I made it through the battle, and the bell rings, and it's so cool because you can still play for a bit, and they just freeze. You're like, I was surrounded by zombies, and they all froze. It wasn't a cutscene right away, and I was able to fucking just pop a couple of them, and they all just stared at the bell like away from me. And it was really eerie and cool. And then it ends with the "Where's everybody going?" bingo line.
Nice. I hope they
Oh,
keep all the
yeah.
one-liners. I need them.
Yeah, it was just great.
Rain or shine, you're going down.
And but I've been playing RE4 on these. I know my camera can't really pick them up, but they're like
Whoa,
these
you
cool
got the
GameCube Joy-Cons that I got.
That's sick. Should have
How's
got the
that feel?
chainsaw Joy-Cons.
They do. They feel good. They're chunky. I accidentally hit the like program turbo buttons, and like I got like these back paddle buttons, and I keep like programming them in weird ways. And it seems like it saves per game, like your control scheme. Because every time I try to play Metroid on it now, like if I go to just normal beam, it is like it is like super turbo beam, and it takes me 5 minutes to figure out how to turn that off.
That's awesome.
But it's pretty good. The button layout for certain games takes a little bit because it is that GameCube bean layout. Certain game, like I've been playing a lot of Dead Cells, the Castlevania stuff.
Yeah, how is that?
It's cool. It's really just Dead Cells with a coat of
With a paint,
Symphony of the Night on it. You get You got Richter in there, Maria, Alucard.
The whole gang's there.
It's a huge, just kind of love letter kind of thing. It's really neat.
I like that.
I haven't finished that part because you gotta like. It's kind of weird how you access some of the stuff in Dead Cells, but yeah, I've just been playing a ton of stuff on my Switch. Still Metroid, still Resident Evil. Trying to finish that before the remake. And I've been watching Daisy Jones and the Six, and I really like that show. It is pretty good. That's on Amazon Prime. It's the fictional band drama kind of show, Fleetwood Mackie type thing.
Oh,
and then
cool.
It's really neat. I think I'm like 3 episodes in, and it's pretty dope.
Did they drop them all on day one?
No, I think they did like a 3 and then 1 a week type deal, which I like that. I could dig that.
Start off strong and then keeps you wanting more. Oh,
But
quick
shall
question,
we-
Mike.
Oh yes,
Have you checked out that Bill Russell docuseries on
I
Netflix?
haven't yet. The Netflix
Okay.
one, I definitely want to see it.
It's on my queue. I'm hoping it's. Well, Jackie loved The Last Dance, so I'm hoping. I love sports docu stuff.
I've heard good things about it. I definitely want to check it out.
I just saw Russell and I was like, oh man, Mike's gonna love this.
Unless he hits like a 720, I won't even watch it. I don't even care.
Damn. How many rings you got, Eric?
Fewer than Bill Russell. Several fewer. Oh, gosh.
Shall we get to the main course
I
here?
think we should. The Last of Us. Like I mentioned, this is a full spoiler cast, so I think what we're going to do in the first section, we are going to completely spoil not only the show, but anything that we know from the first game is free range. So if you haven't played the game or the show or care about any of that, it's all going to get spoiled. And then we can have a second section where we maybe make some predictions or talk about, the second part, the second game, what we think might be in a second and probably third season, and we'll spoil that. So we'll get to all that. But yeah, The Last of Us, it was 9 episodes. It was on HBO. And it's an adaptation of my favorite game of all time, also called The Last of Us. If you're not familiar and you're still listening, this follows Joel and Ellie, and a roughly 50-year-old man and about a 14-year-old girl as they trek across the world after a post-apocalyptic event. Basically, a zombie apocalypse happens, and they got to get from one end of the world. The United States to the other. Yeah, the entire world. They do
across the Bering Strait.
It's great. And that's the general premise. So it's not a new story. It's not like a completely unique story, but the events that happen, especially the ending, which we'll really get to, which I thought the finale captured fantastic, is really where this story's at, where the game is at. I would say let's all take like 30 seconds. Let's go around and just
hot takes.
Hot takes, overall impressions. Tomas, you might as well start it off. What did you think of the series? Just hot take.
0 out of 10. No bricks. Not enough bricks.
I'm disappointed with the brick lacking as well.
At least one, shout out.
Right.
It's like it's upside somebody's head. No, it was. I enjoyed my experience with it. Jackie loved it. She's never played the game, so as a complete new to the whole thing. So for me, it was a lot of fun just watching her reactions to all of it. For me, a lot of it was, God, I haven't played this game in forever, but there were certain things that I was scoping out, just trying to it's how are they gonna do this? How are they gonna do that? I don't want to jump too far ahead, but. But some of the things they nailed real good. Yeah. Some episodes that were just what was it, episode 3? Wasn't expecting that, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself, watching that ride, and it was cool. It was they played around with the because it's a different medium. I'm not can't just have Joel walking around while in listen mode grabbing shit, for 30 minutes. Although I'd probably still watch that. But
Pedro Pascal was like, I'm old, man. My knees can't do that.
Yeah,
he straight up was like, I'm not crawling around.
Look, man, I'm 35 and I ain't doing that. So.
No.
They made a point of that pretty early on too when they were climbing the stairs in first episode.
How about you, Kayla? What were your kind of overall impressions?
Really enjoyed it. I think that I was really impressed with Bella Ramsey. I know we'll get into more details, but I feel like she really kind of grew. That was really interesting to be a part of her growing. And of course, I did play the game, but I I liked the differences that were there. They really added some layers to the story. I feel like the story in a nutshell is really quite simple. Just basically it's just a man who's lost his daughter and now has a lost cub. It's really simple, but they add a lot of stuff into it. I liked it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Mike, how about you?
After episode 7, I would have said this show is not walking. It's walking next to the video game. It is not standing on its shoulders or anything like that. But 8 and 9 were kind of a bummer for me. They were really just kind of the episodes that didn't expand on anything. They really did just stick to the script
material.
and I don't know. I'll talk about it more, but it just really they weren't able to get me to connect to the two main characters at the end of the day in the show to believe their relationship like the game does.
Gotcha. Yeah, I enjoyed my time with it quite a bit. I was very excited to watch it every Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Without a
Good
doubt.
feeling.
And it's unfair, I think, in a lot of ways to the show that I came into it with this preconceived notion of okay, well, you gotta top or at least be as good as my favorite video game and really one of my favorite stories of all time. And there were points where I was like, man, it's doing it. I just feel like there were some choices that they choose. There were some additions to the story, to the characters, some new characters that they invented for the thing that I thought really, really hit, that I was really enjoying quite a bit. But then there were changes to some of I would just say core motivations of some of the main characters and stuff that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I guess that speaks to, I kind of wanted to get to what should an adaptation do? Do they have full reign? If you're deciding to adapt The Last of Us, yeah, you got to take out, you mentioned Tomas, you got to take out a lot of the gamey stuff, so the show had way less combat than the you're mowing down infected and
absolutely
Fedra
none in the show.
Joel didn't kill nearly enough people.
Right.
Not even close.
So, in the game,
not a single
you're doing,
Jesus Joel.
you're doing so much killing, and the show just can't do that. It just didn't work for where that story was and everything else. But I felt like there were some changes, some adaptive choices that just little rubbed me the wrong way. What do you guys think? You could start it off, Tomas. When you're looking at an adaptation, how far from the source material do you want it to be? Does it matter?
It's hard, man. It's hard with this kind of shit, man. It's a video game. I'm behind the steering wheel, dude. It's so different. I'm telling Jackie, because by the end of the game, I absolutely want to murder everybody in that hospital. I've gone through this journey. I have put my life on the line. I've fallen through rebar. That's one of my biggest pet peeves about the change too. Just to jump ahead, but you go through all this shit and you're this person. And you even the winter part where you're Ellie. You've experienced both sides of these characters, and that's so hard to do. Even in an episodic kind of format, I didn't God, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but there's kind of what Mike said, not so much on episode 8, but episode 9, I felt I didn't get what I wanted to feel out of it.
I agree.
It's because when I was playing the game, man, when I was going through that fucking hospital, I'm sorry, no mercy. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not raising my hand, but
no,
yeah, good. I remember episode 1 happened and there was a preview and they show Joel in the hospital with his gun and me and Eric both were like, oh shit. And I also was like, oh, the more I think about it, I am okay with how they handled the hospital scene. Okay. But I agree with you. I am pumped. I'm full of adrenaline. I'm killing every motherfucker who even moves.
Yep.
And they played the song, the Last of Us song, in the background. It was very
Oh, nice catch.
Yeah. And then the attention to detail too, when you're walking up to the the ER room in pediatrics, they had the walls painted the same,
it looked,
the attention to detail in some of the scenes were probably some of the most impressive things I saw in the series. I don't think it was for lack of effort on any part of the people who put the show together. I just feel like some things are so nuanced, in the sense of a video game. To this day, I still feel like it's a hard medium to adapt to a screen.
Getting better at it, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, they're but
I thought they nailed this pretty well. Pretty.
No, I'm not saying they did it bad. I'm just saying it's there's just certain things that are lost in translation. I feel.
I don't know if that was the problem though. I think time was the issue for me. Because they really nailed all this. Because you think, okay, in this episode, it's a real gamey part. They have to escape
when they did that stuff.
Crap city, and they avoid that. They avoid a lot of that stuff. What they didn't avoid is the time you get to spend with Joel and Ellie, because there's episodes where you get no Joel and Ellie.
That is true.
And I think I remember texting Eric after episode 7, I think, and he was I believe you were nervous of how much time was I thought we were gonna have 3 hours. I thought they were gonna each be $1.30, an hour 30. I think we got
that last
2 hours of episode.
The last episode is 42 minutes.
Yes, and it's really short.
It's shorter than that because part of that is credits and the post, where they talk about the making of the episode. So, we're talking 35 to 40 minutes. And even Jackie was like, "Why is this episode so short?" I was like, "I have no idea." I don't know.
I don't know. I think it could have been a 10er. They needed 10.
I think they definitely needed 10. We can get to the finale and where it leaves us and stuff like that, but I really wanted to know. I know early on, Mike, you had I think after the first episode we were talking and you're like, man, that's just not. I think you said that's not my Ellie. I think you were okay with Pedro as Joel. But you were a little iffy
I wasn't okay with either, honestly. After 1 or 2, even probably. I was just, and I wasn't shunning them. I was open. I was like, okay, they got to do it.
Yeah.
Joel for me, Pedro did it. I think.
Yeah.
Episode 5. I want to say that's the Tommy episode. I want to say whichever episode that is where they find Tommy
Pickles.
And he has this big monologue in that one, and that's where I'm like, okay, that's something different. That's Joel. That's cool.
Yeah, that would have been episode 6. Yeah, with
6
Tommy.
then. Okay,
Jackson,
sorry. And Bella by 7, 8. I was pretty sold on her too.
Yeah.
By the end, I was sold on her. I feel like maybe even some of that was on purpose, because she is just such a young child and kind of annoying in the beginning, but all these things change her. And I feel like by the end, she was really the standout for me. I think Joel was good. I felt a little like I wanted more out of Joel.
Mm.
I think Bella finished stronger in the season for sure. I think Joel kind of topped out in that midpoint for me, and then Ellie took the front seat.
They had an episode and a half just laying there. So.
I mean, the Left Behind is just you get so much more time with Ellie. So,
but when Joel got up and he started killing people, ooh boy.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so in regards to like Joel and Ellie, I thought they like from the beginning they were pretty good. I enjoyed them. I love that several times throughout the story they like pick up their iconic kind of clothing or their like iconic bag and stuff, and like they've got the
when I saw the shirt with like the beach Ellie's
Yeah.
shirt, I was like, oh, that's the shirt, you know.
so good. And Ellie's gun is like the same little like Beretta and stuff she has in the game, and yeah, it's, those little touches were really good, and they really like nailed that for me, like the look of both of them.
MK2, like, come on, that was. And they tease it in episode 3, and then you get it in 7.
Yep.
I think that whole Left Behind thing might be better than the game, the expansion, that episode. I don't know, for me.
I think you're right.
I was
Yeah,
like,
I think the
yeah.
the DLC is like fine. It's okay. It's good. It's like needed. I like the as an addition to story, but seeing it like play out like how it did in the show, I thought was
God, the end of
fantastic.
it. I was bracing for impact that whole entire episode. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't going to end well.
I think the biggest thing for me in regards to Joel and Ellie, and this kind of also goes into just like the nature of adapting those characters and the choices that they made. They made some like kind of bold swings that I was not a huge fan of. Like that to me like completely changed those characters, their motivations, their like personalities, in a way that like I guess now going forward the show is just different than the game. It's not the same Joel and Ellie, but like with Ellie, her sadistic nature from like day one, where from episode, I think it's literally episode 1, where she sees Joel beat the Fedra agent to death. She like stares like she's happy. She's like, okay, this is like she literally like looks like she wants to get in on that. And then like the next episode or 2 episodes later, she like dissects the head of that living clicker or whatever, living infected. She's like digging her knife in there,
playing with the trapped clicker.
Yeah. She wants really desperately to learn to shoot and stuff with Joel. And I just, that was just such a departure from the Ellie. Like, she's a smart aleck and like a tough person in the game, but like she grows into a more violent character in the show, like, or in the game, way more gradually and kind of more by like necessity, as opposed to I don't know, just being a psychopath or whatever else. And then Joel, who I think is a psychopath, like I think Joel is just like a heartless human,
broken man.
Broken man, in the game.
I wouldn't say heartless.
He found it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but in the show, he's having panic attacks, and like
I didn't
think
like that.
He falls in love with Ellie.
That was a weird choice.
Like immediately, or like halfway through, as opposed to, I feel like in the game it is such a gradual. It's like basically up until the hospital scene. I think is for me has always been like the thing that clicked. Like, oh shit! Like he's remembering. Wow, I just spent this whole year with this person, and I do love her. Like that's his moment of like clarity of, oh, I do love her.
Oh, I disagree.
I think he kind of comes to it a little quicker than that.
Yeah, in the game even?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think by the time you're trying to chase her, like get her back at Tommy's when she runs away, that's where it all clicks for sure, I thought. But man, I love that part for Joel and Pedro Pascal. That monologue he gives to Tommy, like when he's freaking out.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think. I'm like, man, Joel in the game does not do that.
No.
Joel never lingers, never really shows any sign of wearing
unwavering
down. And this one does. And I thought they did a pretty good job, so, laying the seeds of that, like, throughout the episodes, and then to finally get that big, like, I can't do this, like, she's gonna die, like, if I'm the one taking her out there. And it's the it feels like he believes in the cause, like Tess's cause, like what Tess wanted him to do.
Yeah.
And you makes you believe that he's gonna get her there, and maybe he hasn't thought about the consequences of that, but he certainly doesn't care about the consequences at that point. He's more worried about just getting her because she's special to the spot.
Tomas, I have a question for you regarding Jackie.
Yeah.
Did she realize, like, when Joel wakes up on the last episode, and they're like, "Yeah, Ellie's, they're gonna figure it out," and he's like, "Cordyceps are on the brain." Did she realize that meant she was gonna die?
Well, I think it was the parts even before that, like they do the draft scene and they're like talking, and Joel's having second thoughts. And she's already thinking it's like they're not gonna fucking like guinea pig her, are they? Like she was already kind of like leaning in that direction. She's like, I swear to God, if they end up killing this girl, so.
Oh, Selena, Mike, did she realize it?
I'll start with Selena loved the show. I don't know if she had any kind of feelings. I think she was very happy with Joel's decision. She was completely sold on their relationship. Without playing the game, she bought it for sure.
So did Jackie.
And she is Joel made all the right decisions, which is how I felt, honestly, after I beat the game.
Same here. I made all the right decisions.
So I think hats off to Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin and all those people. Like I think that's what they were trying to accomplish with the show, is sell not only the people that love and play the game, but to get the new people is really what they were after.
I just had went to work the next day, and my coworker was like, "I don't understand. What happened? Are they okay?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, they're okay. They got out." She's like, "What was the deal? Why didn't they make the vaccine or whatever?" And I was like, "Nah, she was gonna die, so he went in there and killed everybody."
Gotcha. Hell yeah!
Oh, okay. I thought
She didn't realize that like she would have died in the process.
Yeah, the brainstem.
She thought she was just giving, drawing some blood and getting the fight.
Nope.
I wish I had had a chance to replay the first game again. I really wanted to before watching.
I wish
I think I will. I think I'll get the part one, the new remake.
They got you. They got you.
Yo,
they did it. They already did it.
Had me when they announced it, honestly. When
the show has already accomplished what it needed to.
But like, so Marlene uses some in that final, hospital scene when Joel's coming to the realization and everything else. She uses some verbiage where she says, like they think. She uses the term think. They think that this will, like, they'll be able to get a vaccine or whatever, or a cure from this, as opposed to, I feel like I went through the game and even finished the game thinking that, like, okay, the choice at the end is literally a definite on one direction, definite we get the vaccine, or definite Ellie survives kind of scenario when I finished that game and everything else. Whereas, like, the show posits that maybe we'll get a cure or whatever else, and I think that just like completely changes that. I mean, do you guys remember how that is worded in the game, or how that like was given
not
to the player?
verbatim?
I don't care how they word it. It's if this is like the first person that they've ever encountered that is immune, they have no idea what they're doing.
They're fucking stupid for like just trying to kill her, or like this is the one person who's like,
right, I'm gonna make sure that bitch lives, and I am gonna take her blood.
run some tests before you start cutting spinal cords,
But here's where, like, I'll say this is minor spoilers for the second game. I'll say here, they make it well known in the second game that the doctor that was going to perform the surgery is the like the world renowned. He knows what he's fucking doing. Like, if there's anyone on the planet who could do this, so you have to kind of assume that like, all right, he wouldn't do that unless he felt like he had done some sort of testing or whatever else, or like in rats and like whatever. You got to kind of like stretch, but like I feel like you have to feel as though it's a done deal or as close to a done deal as possible. Otherwise, the choice almost doesn't matter, right?
I just want to make this point that like we still struggle with shit like this, like in modern medicine, like just like fungal shit. Like, and they make that a point at the beginning of the series too. They have that whole entire like little, 60 minutes like talk. What's the next big pandemic, or like what's the next, thing that's gonna, pose a problem to mankind. And the guy gives the whole rundown on the fungus, because like we got nothing against this shit now, because you're not dealing with like, they don't function like viruses, they don't function like bacteria. So it's like, everybody uses the word vaccine, but like you technically can't do that with fungal like shit.
Right.
So and I don't know, man, even in the game, I was like, y'all full of shit. Like, let's start bricking some people. Y'all holding on to a dream. It's been 20 years. Ain't nobody done shit yet. You've had this doctor that whole time. Fucking.
I think 2 shows off, yes, that he was capable of doing this, and that they have the fucking resources for this shit. They got the stuff, man. Like I felt like their base or whatever in the second one is quite impressive to me. And after watching the show, I have a completely different like take on the ending on Joel, like for sure.
How so?
I think he made a mistake.
Okay. Interesting.
Nah. Whereas Selena's pro Joel, so I haven't told her any of what I know about the second game, and because she's completely like, there's no way they would have found a vaccine. Like, he did the right thing. Like, she was already thinking of ways to make Joel the good guy, in that situation. Which I did the same thing. So it was kind of fascinating to see her brain work in that same way. Like, they would never done this. Marley, I'm so glad he did, that kind of stuff. So,
I feel like that's so boring if it's like good versus evil, right? Like, I mean, like, even
it's just who do you side with? Is Joel the bad guy or is he the good guy? I mean, that's.
Well, he's only like a good guy or a bad guy, or he's like, if it's 100% like if they can like say that there's 100% chance that like we remove her brain and that's gonna be the cure. And then the thing is like, okay, either Ellie dies and we get a cure, or Ellie doesn't die and we don't get a cure, and it's black and white. Then you can make a determination. But if it's just like there's like a 5% chance, 10% chance, or something, then it's like, well, fuck no. Like then
there ain't 100% chance that anything we do medical now in what we have would work on anything, on any type of
kind of infection like this.
I mean,
but we've never been able to research this thing. Like, they did, like Eric said, there was 20 years of someone somewhere with a microscope and a beaker, and they were looking at this shit. Like, it would only take one great mind or a team of great minds to crack it. I would think.
Okay, I'm gonna meet you. I'm gonna meet you in the middle, Mike. Shoot the kneecaps of the doctor. Then
I was after playing the second one. I desperately do not want Joel to make that decision. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, like
the second game did that. It ruins that moment to me. I don't know. Maybe ruins the heart.
I thought that like at least whether we agree on the like should he have done it, I actually you said like you didn't like the last episode or last 2 episodes or whatever. I thought that episode 9, aside from being incredibly short, but the hospital scene, it worked for me like 100%. I loved the sound going out and just the song playing in the background on low, and Joel just being like catatonic and going through that. I think that was the
He
best.
is like emotionless,
completely emotionless, and
Man on a mission.
And I think that like really does a good job of simulating how that scene plays out in a unique way in the game, because like in the game you are
It's so safe.
so safe.
I thought those episodes were just so safe.
Oh, I mean, they're 1-to-1 with the show for the game for the most part.
I don't mean they were bad quality. They just kind of, I was like, I don't know. I think I was with, you brought up how many changes they made to certain characters. I thought they had the balls to not go with the direct, exact 1-to-1 ending to this. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If we can go a little ahead, I mean, it's just kind of future tripping on the pod. But, we're talking about, they wrapped it up, same spot, first game ends. There is a time jump between 1 and 2. Now, are they going to take liberties with that time jump?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's where my mind was going. I'm like,
they're gonna have to, because the first episode and the whole season potentially will not work for me, just because you have to believe in that relationship between those two people.
Yeah,
for sure. Because
I think it's a good opportunity.
That relationship ends really fast into that game.
Yeah,
and you don't get to see a lot of the in between at all in that game. So
IGN did a really good job. I sent it to you, Kayla. They did an episode by episode breakdown of, they just hypothetically created a second season of The Last of Us, and it's like a pretty breezy article. It take 5-minute kind of article to read. I think there's a video component as well, but they do a good job. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, this is exactly how you could do that second game, and make it make sense, because the second game has so many flashback scenes, and the narrative is all over the place. There's like switching between perspectives and things like that.
Different characters.
Yeah,
right. We'll get a whole episode that's the museum.
Yeah,
we'll get a whole episode that's the confession. That kind of thing for sure.
Yeah. They did a great job. You should check that article out.
I will. That's interesting.
I think it's Simon Cardy wrote it. I think from IGN.
I've seen him on Twitter many times.
Yeah, I think he's got a good accent.
Nice.
What did you guys think of? We got some cameos. We got a Troy Baker cameo. We got an
Everybody.
Ashley Johnson cameo, and we got a Laura Bailey cameo. Blink and you
Who
missed
was
her.
Laura Bailey? That's the one I missed completely.
She was one of the nurses.
That makes sense. Okay. Her face is covered. All right.
So she's wearing a scrub cap and a mask and scrubs.
Yeah, a little hard though.
She sent Neil Druckmann a really funny picture of like a selfie of the doctor on the ground dead, and her doing like a peace sign and stuff. And
gotta do on the
gravestone
like
on set, because I guess he wasn't on set that day. So she had like Craig Mazin or whoever take a like a picture of her.
Pretty funny.
Over the corpse. It was pretty good.
I like that.
Gotcha. The Ashley Johnson one overall bummed me out, because I thought that scene was unnecessary and lame. And just like ridiculous. Like,
yeah, that was one of those where I was like, this wasn't there.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, like that's. I couldn't like turn my brain off to like the Ellie voice.
Sure.
Like the actual Ellie voice. I was like, whoa. Like, yeah. I was like, that's just straight up Ellie. Like.
That didn't bother me at all. It was just the concept of trying to explain why Ellie's immune, because I don't think the game does that at all, and it doesn't have to.
It's new information.
I just thought that was like ridiculous, like sci-fi movie stuff. I don't know, like bad sci-fi movie stuff to me.
Interesting. I kind of really dug it. It was actually, I got kind of
5
spoiled.
minutes.
Got
banana bread.
Whoa. You about to be
Delightful.
banana fed, bro.
Damn.
Yum. Yeah,
Banana fetter line.
I got spoiled on that scene. I saw an image on online of like Ashley
need to
Johnson
stay away
running
from
through the
that
woods with
internet.
a big belly, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know I know what's happening here. I thought that played out really well. Like, I mean, that's Blade's origin story too. Like his ma got bit by a vampire and gave birth to
It
him.
works in Blade. It doesn't work in The Last of Us. It's so stupid that Ashley Johnson is fighting for her life, gets bit right before she shits out this baby, and then cuts the umbilical cord with the same knife that stabbed the clicker infested.
Mike, I gotta tell you, women don't shit out babies. Just so you know, I don't know if you're aware.
Womb is a battlefield, and it is full of shit. I saw half of All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I thought it. I don't know. I thought it worked. The only thing I was kind of upset about was I wanted more Ashley Johnson. Troy Baker got a whole episode of action and stuff, and she got
Troy got
5
more time.
minutes. You know, like.
And Troy's time was like him just like sulking there nearby.
He had to do some acting. Like
Shy horse.
I liked it.
He took that
didn't
hatchet
do
like a
much
champ.
acting. Yeah,
I thought he
did.
looked really like good bad. Like he looked like
Good
really
bad.
run
He
down
looked
and
fucking
stuff.
rough,
And
yeah.
like he's normally
looks like a
very
person who's
good-looking
been-
man.
Yeah, a person who's been living through the apocalypse for the past 20 years
And eating
and been
people.
eating human
Oh,
people.
right, he's a
you know,
little-
like, so what kind of meat is this? No. Hoo-foo.
So we mentioned it a little bit, and I don't think we've fully spoiled anything at this point for what season 2 and season 3 could be. But I guess for a second here, we can have a segment of where our hype level is going into season 2 and 3, knowing full well what we know of part 2 of the game. Anything we'd like them to change, anything at all. I've got no notes. Watching this and being absorbed again into the world of The Last of Us made me appreciate part 2 that much more. A game that I already loved, and I am so excited to replay it. But Mike, you could start it off. How after leaving this, how hyped are you for a second and I guess third season, and how could it? You didn't like 2 as much, part 2. How could the show improve on that?
I think it can improve it 100%. Like potentially.
Got nowhere to
My
go
hype-
but up.
After seeing, we didn't really touch on episode 3, and I think we should.
We should.
Beautiful episode.
But seeing what they pulled off with minor things and expanding upon those, I think if they could pull that off a few more times in season, because 2 and 3 are going to be Last of Us 2, the game, cut in half, I'm guessing.
I think
Right.
so.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tomas brought up, will they kind of add some I don't want to say filler, but just more stuff along the
Play
way?
with it.
I think they should definitely do that. I hope they do.
They have such a good opportunity to do so.
If season 1 is Ellie stuff and season 2 is Abby, then I think they could definitely just blow that out and add so much more and make it better for me.
Do you think anyone can kind of take it, but what do they do with the fact that we lose Joel very early on in that game, 5 hours into it maybe?
Depends on how fast you're running through that snow.
Right.
I think we're going to have a lot of Joel peppered throughout. I think they have to keep him around. People love Joel. The game does not give you a lot of Joel,
No,
right? Like, I think I remember that right.
A few
Well,
flashbacks
there's
here
quite
and there.
a bit of flashbacks, but you play as Joel for 2 hours, maybe.
Not long.
I don't think there's that much Joel to my memory. Like, you have the part where you're playing as him, which is okay. It's a lot of just following Tommy and stuff like that. You get the great flashback stuff, but those are like 30 hours apart. I felt
Yeah,
like
they
I
are.
don't know. Like
Fucking
I really want
miles.
Very long game.
in a
Yeah.
pod crasher. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
I liked part 2. I don't think I would be into it if they did like season 2 Ellie and season 3 Abby. I want that. I would be happier if it went like back and forth like it does in the game.
Oh, I don't know if people would dig that. I don't know.
I would.
Fuck.
I just think like how they have to think to present this thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Bouncing from Ellie to Abby every other episode or during an episode.
Maybe not
I
like
don't know.
perfectly back and forth, but
Mix it in. Yeah.
yeah, with some flashbacks and definitely laying into the relationships that they build with other people around them.
I guess it would be weird to not find out like Abby's relationship to
the
Joel
doctor.
until
Right.
the beginning of season 3. Would that be like maybe a season 2?
Yeah,
ending?
you'd have
I don't
to
know.
set that up earlier.
The finale
Right.
could be...
I think I agree.
So in that article I was mentioning, they have like Joel's death way into it. Like they surmise something like Abby, or she's with, I think Simon is the guy's name, or Owen, right? Is the other guy
right.
she's with. Like when they meet Joel and Tommy and whatnot in the game, they say like, oh, maybe one of them gets injured and they have to come to Jackson and kind of integrate into Jackson, and only like after a couple episodes or something, a light bulb would go off. Oh shit, this is the guy, like through learning about Jackson, learning about Joel, learning about Tommy, etc.
They don't figure that out right away.
Right,
Okay.
like 5 episodes in or something, maybe they figure it out, and then
Oh, you can't do that.
I
That
don't know.
Man,
Last of Us 2 is like 3 times longer than Last of Us 1.
Yeah, it's
And I'm not
slow burn,
exaggerating.
baby.
So I don't know. I don't think they can linger that long on that. They gotta get moving. Ellie's got to kill that girl with the Vita real fast. Episode 3 or something.
Let's go.
man, I knew we were spoiling The Last of Us Part 1 and the show, but we are spoiling Part 2 as well. Like, huge
brought
thing.
that up.
Yeah, you might not have been on yet, but I mentioned
I
we'd
knew
have
we
a
were
section.
spoiling 1. You brought up spoiling 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we brought that up.
Making sure. I was like, whoa.
There's one scene in part 2 that they can't do because of the universe that they built up in the
Ooh, what's that?
TV show. When she fucking pulls the mask off of the one girl and the spores.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No spores.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
actually
because
quite a bit.
Ellie's,
Gotcha.
yeah, Ellie's immune, so like when she's trying to like interrogate this chick, and
I forgot they didn't do spores. I really was into the way they introduced like the hive mind of the cordyceps.
I dig that
And they
because
do
that's like
nothing with it.
Mhm.
Nothing.
that's like an actual fungal thing too, though. Like,
Sure.
because there's like a whole underground fungal network that's like tapped into like the roots of like all the plants on the planet. Like it's so I was kind of into that, like the little scientific like nods and shit.
It was great, but Mike's
Yeah.
right. I mean, we saw it for a scene, really. Like it
Yes.
happened,
Mhm.
It kills
for a
Tess
scene.
and that's it. Like
Yeah.
it's never a problem ever. And I guess maybe the winter aspect of that, maybe they can't grow out unless it's like an urban kind of weird area. I don't know.
That makes
But the
sense.
show didn't
They kind of
say that.
like what was that the episode where the fucking what was it, the bloater where they're
The
like
Kathleen,
looking down at
like-
Yeah, it's like 4.
they look in the basement and like the fucking like the ground is like moving and shit. They're like, oh no. So, but yeah, they didn't.
Yeah,
they
that was
didn't-
all good, setting that up.
Yeah.
I loved
It's
all
pretty
the
cool.
action,
Man.
like set pieces like that with Kathleen. I liked the test stuff.
Loved
I
the
really
test
liked the
stuff.
final
Yeah.
episode. I thought the violence in that was really good. Just I had mentioned just Joel going catatonic and wrecking house and stuff. I thought any time where they got violent and stuff, even just like the small shootout in episode 3, I guess it would be, where they get to Kansas City and have to kind of bang it out with the couple guys, and Ellie has to
That's
shoot the guy
episode
in the
4.
back and stuff.
That's 4. I
4?
think.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I thought all
3 is
Bill and
the
Frank.
deviation.
You're right.
like
Yeah.
where they-
3's Bill and Frank.
Yeah.
Which let's talk about that now. We
Yeah,
have
Yeah,
to give
let's
that
talk.
episode
Let's do our
Please.
standout
flowers.
episodes. What was our? I mean, was 3 everyone's favorite?
That
or-
was the one. That was like the strawberry scene. I was like, oh my god, I cried so much during that episode. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, heartfelt tears, sad tears. Like, I was all in. I don't know.
It was amazing.
It
Yeah.
was a beautiful episode. Like, I wanted to rewatch it immediately after watching it. It was so good. And it was so, like,
Such
you know,
a
like
different-
Mike, you said they played it real safe on the last 2 episodes, and I can understand your sentiment of saying that, because part 3, they took liberties like hell, and they fucking swung for the fences, and my God, did they take it out of the park. Like, it was just so masterfully done. Like,
The
hell,
marketing did such a smart job because they only show you like Nick Offerman in like Bill mode that you know. And
Yep.
I was really anticipating seeing how they were going to pull off this cool little trap junk town that he's got going on here. And then they totally just pull the rug and do something beyond what the game did, like infinite, like
Oh yeah.
amazing. By the end of that episode, when you realize what is happening there, it blew me away. It blew me away, that final dinner scene with those 2 characters and what they pulled off in an hour. Just fantastic. What'd you think of it, Eric?
I loved the episode. The one choice that they make that I love that they expanded, like, because these characters, Bill's a pretty big character in the game, and then Frank is just like mentioned a little bit. So you'd never get to see Frank or anything else, and giving them a whole episode to really cook, and like their love, their like romance was just so believable. I mean, just like those dudes,
Absolutely.
just like they made sense together in all the ways that they didn't. But I think this was the first time where maybe it was the first time. I don't. It was one of the times where I'm like, they made a decision at the end where he kills himself with Frank. I feel like that made sense for the character and everything else. But then him like writing the letter, and it's such a heartfelt letter. It's like it's a positive. It's a Joel, here's what you should do, Joel. You should love Ellie and protect her and all these things, essentially. I mean, he writes it for Tess, but Joel obviously takes it for Ellie. That is the exact opposite of the letter that Bill finds from Frank in the game. It's like the mirror of that. Like, it's the exact, like, or whatever. I guess a mirror is the exact thing. Whatever. It's the fucking exact opposite, because Bill is jaded and says like, oh, whatever you love will die. You know, like, oh, the man I loved, Frank, this world still got him, and what was the use in all that? And I feel like that's a great like juxtaposition of like it feeds into Joel's like hard shell and everything else, and it's like a pendulum swing from like Tess tells him, hey, go save this girl, it's important, it's for me, and then he sees what can happen when you do let your guard down or fall in love or protect someone or whatever, and it's like, oh, swing back to old Joel, but in this it's just one swing. It's a swing from Tess sending him to the good side, and then a further swing upward of like Bill and Frank also swinging him towards that, and it just, I don't know, it was too nice, I guess. Like, The Last of Us is not nice to me, you know, like that was my thing.
It was great to see a slice of it that could be. Because it is like the exception. This guy created this fucking Shangri-La.
Yeah.
And he found a person to share it with, and just hats off to them. They fucking did it so well.
Yeah.
But that's another experience because you're building on Bill and Frank, which is great. But in the game, that was a lot of Joel and Ellie shit. Like you guys having to sneak through this fucking town, and you get trapped at one point. You're trying to save each other, and
I was wondering if they're gonna still pull that, like, kind of,
wanted some traps.
Upside down, trying to shoot at zombies.
It would have been cool if he would have given him one of those pipe bombs with the like razor blades and
right.
That'd have been cool.
Not enough crafting.
Bill with the flamethrower. No, the flamethrowers are coming out of like the trees and shit. He's just got like a machine gun or something.
It was so cool.
Or just a shotgun. And
his introduction is so good in that. Just
so
waiting out the Fedra agents and stuff, or whoever is clearing out every home just to be slaughtered. And just like, I got over on you fuckers. Like, I knew this day would come.
My man has been waiting.
Yeah, it's definitely an encapsulation for me of like I enjoyed my time with like every single episode, and I thought they were masterfully done, and I loved Bill and Frank's love story. I would have like watched a show of Bill and Frank, but just like where it winds itself into The Last of Us or into Joel and Ellie's story is just a little. I wasn't a huge fan of that aspect of it.
Well, they do such a good job of setting up Tess in this show.
Yeah,
and I think the show does these characters better than the game does. Like,
I agree.
Bill and Frank, Henry and Sam,
yeah.
Which the section in the game you spend a lot of time with them. If I remember right. But still did it so well in this show. Kathleen, who I didn't even remember from the game.
Yeah.
She's not really in the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought Melanie Linsky really popped on
fucking hated her character.
And then she's like,
Riley. When's this bitch gonna die?
Right. She was such a good villain and she did it for an episode. And they kind of did that all the way up till the final 2 episodes, and they did it really well.
Yeah.
But then it came down to your 2 remaining characters, and you didn't spend any time with them. Like, I don't know.
I think that's a valid point. Don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoyed the last 2 episodes. Like, especially like fucking creepy snow dude. Fucking cult.
David was good.
Episode.
David was real good.
It was like I felt it. Like I felt it when Joel, held Ellie. It's like, it's okay, baby girl. I was like, oh, no.
But it is just, you can put the game up to the show, and it's certain scenes are just identical.
It was like
lines are identical.
Yep. I'm the girl who broke your fucking finger.
It's almost like the game is really good though.
Yeah, that's
great source material.
They set up all these little things though, and then in every episode something's different. From the opening scene where that guy's explaining the fun, like what could happen, what could take down America or the world or whatever, and that's like in this like some 70s talk show. But that's really cool, and they keep adding little trinkets and stuff and changing things and deviating, and then just for those final 2 episodes to say no, we're not, we're playing it by the book. It was just really weird and kind of lame to me. Done really well. David was great. The Ellie stuff with back and forth with him in the cage was really well done.
Yeah, got us. Oof.
Joel's scene, with the interrogating those guys, torturing them. 1-to-1 with the game. Really good scene in the game. Fucking kick-ass scene in the game.
Yep.
Pretty good in the show. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. It doesn't hit the same when you're seeing the exact same thing as the game.
So you wanted more liberties.
And it was like, ooh, ah. And I don't know.
But is it because who has an open heart, she accepted it with open.
I've convinced her. I think we're gonna try to play through the game together. So
cool.
That's wonderful.
Jackie would literally be covering her eyes the whole entire time. So And definitely not gonna take her through my RE4 experience. But, so Mike, well, so it was like the artistic liberties that like kind of stuck out more to you.
Oh, absolutely. The best
Okay.
parts of the show were the new stuff.
New stuff, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was a lot of it was kind of like world building too. You mentioned at the very beginning they give the scientist, TED talk, whatever it was back then. I liked how they did, they took time in like the next episode to do like right as like shit is popping off, they pull in like number one like fungal lady to come check out this shit. And, she takes a seat and she's like, fucking, you gotta bomb everything.
Yeah.
You gotta bomb this whole fucking city with the people in it. Like, fucking, we are fucked.
And apparently the actor who played that, she's like the Meryl Streep of, I forget where it's, Malaysia or whatever. Indonesia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Indonesia. She's like one of the like most decorated actors of that country, and they got her in this like kind of bit part, but she does so good.
I believed her. I believed we were fucked. Like,
man.
And it was.
We can see more of that.
Yeah, no, I was like, the more you talk about it, Mike, the more I'm like convinced that like yeah, man, like those really did like add character to, a story we already are very so like intimate with, very familiar with, and maybe that is like the gap that like we need like when adapting these, video games to a different medium. Maybe that's kind of like, because 8 and 9, as accurate as they were, I don't feel like the show stuck the landing. 8 I enjoyed more. 9, like I just, as much as like, I don't know, I just felt like there was a disconnect there, and I think you kind of hit it on the head, Mike, with the the relationship between Joel and Ellie. Like I'm behind the steering wheel with these people for like 30 hours. So when I'm killing everybody in the hospital, I'm all in, baby. It's like, let's go. Fucking,
That's like a game thing that they left in. And it works better as a game.
I feel like there's a lot more action in 8 and 9 than there is in anything else.
Yeah.
And it takes away from the relationship building and the dialogue when they're just trying to kill people.
And something that really I wish they would have aped from the game is the big title cards or whatever when the seasons change. That shit hits so fucking hard in the game. When Joel falls on that rebar in the game,
oh god,
and then it just hits to winter, and you have no idea what has happened. Like, oh come on,
that's
like,
I think that's the one change that disappointed me the most.
Yeah.
I was bracing for impact for that rebar for like probably an episode and a half. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be the one. This is the one. This is where it's happening. I'm like, how are they going to do it? It's like, how real is it going to look? Oh my God.
I was really anticipating a full violent kind of thing there, like some big action set piece. And it really turned into like Joel being like kind of not as good as I once was against this one dude and got stabbed. Like, I don't know.
Wasn't feeling it.
Yeah. I didn't mind like the lack of him falling down a, elevator shaft or whatever, but
had to have the rebar.
The thing that got me was it didn't feel as though he was actually ever in. I guess I know, so it's tough. I know he's not gonna die there, but I don't think they did enough to like obscure him at all. Like in the game, you cut to winter, and you're just Ellie, and you're just with Ellie for an hour or whatever. Yeah, you're hunting.
Expert stuff. God.
Yeah,
that part is so good.
Yeah.
And why couldn't they do that in the show? I feel like that you could have like
a little rushed.
Yeah, that's where like the rush you guys mentioned, like the last couple episodes are real rushed and stuff. that is
sprinting to the finish
definitely
line.
where I felt it the most, and I had told Mike after episode 7, I'm like, they don't have enough runway, like with what they have here, because the game is roughly a 12 to like 14 hour experience on average. And we got less than 9 hours
When you're not collecting shit.
Well, yeah, but I don't know how you could have like a season of television be less time with the game when it's not an open world game. It's not even like a terribly like long game for that era of games or anything else. Like you couldn't give it 10, 11, 12 hours of screen time. I don't know. I think it needed it. At least
Spending
another
at least
episode.
10 hours searching for pills. Another 15 crafting. Gotta
Aaron
make my
brought up a cool idea. He couldn't make it, but he wanted us to bring up his kind of logic with the Fireflies and thinking that they would just, with that kind of power, with having that cure, they would become something worse. I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said. Something worse than Fedra. And really,
with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's a fun twist.
I've never thought of that at all. Like in all the time that I've thought of The Last of Us, I think it's a great point, though. I don't know that we ever are with the Fireflies or Marlene enough to know, like, they're terrorists. First off, they just like firebomb people and stuff like that, and so they got that going on, and they have like child soldiers and stuff. So like, yeah, they're not like great. So to think that they would be super altruistic, like he said, like they'd be like Jonas Salk or something and just give away the polio vaccine. I get his point. Yeah, like maybe they wouldn't. Like maybe they would lord it over. Like why would they just go? What, they're gonna go to Fedra and like hand it out or something? Like they're at war with Fedra, so.
I don't believe that they have any way that they would mass produce this thing either. That's impossible.
That's another thing.
It's not happening.
I feel like all these groups are full of shit.
I don't know.
They're all like just, the world's fucked at this point. The best thing to do is just to kind of push on and get over the hump. I think these, you got groups that have, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So obviously, like there's parts of Fedra that have like done too much with their power, and then there's, obviously the towns that been overthrown by militias or like resistances. And you got the Fireflies. And Eric, you made like 3 excellent points, like right out the rip. Child soldiers, fucking firebombing people, and technically they're terrorists. It's a finger pointing contest, who's right and who's wrong, and nobody's working together. So I feel like everything is just self motivated, and it's an imperfect world.
I'm Team Firefly.
Nah, you would be.
I think that they're trying.
No matter what they're going to do with it or how they're going to, use it over people or hand it out, having it is better than not having. Like I
can agree with that point.
Trying to end this like
just don't believe in the plausibility
endless cycle of creating infected. Like we have to end that.
No matter what. Tough acting to acting. There's your cure. Right there.
Yeah.
Dry them out. This whole entire thing is social commentary on global warming.
It kind of is.
The only reason the cordyceps. The only reason the cordyceps got us, global warming. Adaptation.
The biggest part of the entire series, like, and we can kind of get into kind of some wrapping up here, but I think I loved all the additions to the story, additional characters, additional kind of the cold opens and stuff like that. I wasn't as big a fan in the changes to the story. So I think you can add without changing, like changing people's motivations or changing people's like backstories or anything like that.
Like core character.
And they did both. They made some fantastic additions. But they also made some changes where I was like, well, I didn't jive with that kind of thing.
Jive turkey.
But what do you guys think in terms of video game adaptations? We've talked a ton about on this pod. Where
This old
does this
chestnut.
one rank at this point? Just season 1.
Well,
compared
what's
to
the peak? What's the bar?
Castlevania, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think this is in a whole nother league though, because Castlevania has lore and some story.
Well, I
But-
mean, it kind of does, but like literally the story they did for Castlevania was an NES game.
Can you say anything else?
Right. I'm not trying to say like Castlevania did add a lot to a little.
That's true. Fucking that
Whereas
Legion episode.
This was trying to accomplish something different where it needed to differentiate itself enough and still be good enough as that original thing. And even though I didn't really love it overall, I gotta say it's got to be up there with Castlevania and Arcane for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot.
It was
about Arcane.
enjoyable.
That's another good one.
I think the examples of, our girlfriends being outsiders looking in, enjoying the series, I feel like it accomplished what it wanted to.
It says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like a live, like I think that's a good point, a live action
Yeah.
thing that people are gonna want to check out. It's better than anything like that. There's not much of that to bring
To
up.
base it
Maybe
off
Halo,
of.
Mortal
the Halo
Kombat.
show.
Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat.
the newest Mortal Kombat for sure. And I think The Last of Us beats that. I didn't.
Yeah.
I can't speak for Halo, but
I
I
didn't
think
watch Halo.
this is much better than that.
I'd like your
What do you
opinion on
think,
that, Kayla, actually, because you've seen Halo and this, and they're very similar in length and kind of they're adapting games of a certain like era and stuff too.
The Last of Us is better. I don't want to say like by far, but
Ooh.
the Last of Us just does tell the story and add layers, whereas Halo just kind of does tell the story and takes off Master Chief's helmet. And that's kind of the difference.
Does it do what Nintendo don't?
Right, like this is the only kind of thing that could do this though in games so far. Like as far as a big budget game, I know there's, visual novels with great stories and RPGs with great stories, but having this kind of thing, I don't know that besides maybe a BioShock
Ooh.
that could compete with it. I guess we haven't mentioned it. I forgot, like The Witcher.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I would say I enjoy this much more than The Witcher. What do you think, Kayla? They're
It's
kind
up there with
closer?
The Witcher for me.
Got
That
more
prefer
of the
The
Witcher
Witcher.
at this point.
yeah, that's a good question. I think I would need to put some thought to that.
Wow, man, I think I'm higher on the show than Kayla. I don't know.
I
Oh,
like
wow.
The Last of Us.
You just really like The Witcher.
Exactly. Yeah,
Maybe that's it. I'm underestimating.
they're
your
like
Witcher love.
neck and neck.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
I think Castlevania is my bar.
Castlevania is my bar too. I
I'm a
don't
big
have.
Castlevania stan though, so
It's animated, and I'm Jackie and Selena with that. I never played the games. I just know the animated series, and that shit's banging. So.
hell yeah. That show was
Uh,
fucking dope. I was so happy of how well that show just
Right.
did it all, man.
Right.
I
I think that this is one of the greatest adaptations. It truly is. It's
Yeah.
something that took the world by storm. Like, people like Selena and Jackie are into it. They want to watch it. They can't
Yeah.
wait for Sunday too. And
Yeah.
they wouldn't
sure.
be into the game. Like if you were
Right.
like, hey, I'm gonna play Last of Us, they'd be like, okay, bye. So I
Pretty
think
much.
it really, really succeeded at bringing in new viewers to the world.
I want
Whereas
Selena
Castlevania, I would say, does not. Halo does not.
Hmm.
The Witcher did.
God of War will.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what that is.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what's up.
It's a great
I
point.
think we have crossed over to like, okay, people who are fans are making these things. People who enjoyed this property are now creative and a part of a community that can get it done. And they do.
I'm worried that this is kind of a one-of-one situation because Neil Druckmann works so hard, so closely with those two games and had extra stuff. Like Craig Mazin would be able to ask him, like, do you have anything? I want to do something with Ellie's mom. Do you have something? Oh, yeah, I have something I left on the cutting room floor, Oh, I want that. I want to have that. And we're able to use it, And I don't know. That's just like such a weird scenario. I don't think you can recreate that kind of magic. Like having all that world built out, like having that person be like such a leader on all three projects. I'm worried that these other things won't have that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think adaptations will forever and always, no matter what they came from and become, will have a large community saying it's not as good as the book. It's not as good as the game. I think that's just such a like core feeling for like first experiences with people that it's hard to change that.
Yeah, and that's always been a thing. Like when comic book movies were like first being a thing, it's like, how do you balance up because it's hard to weigh against like nostalgia.
Exactly.
Because it's not even you're not even coming off of like any kind of objective truths. You're going off of individual thoughts on. It's like this is so near and dear to my heart. Please don't ruin it. And I'm already setting myself up for being disappointed.
That was definitely me going into it, and I'm glad I wasn't. I'm really glad I wasn't disappointed. It's not better than the game in my opinion, but I don't know that I ever like. It would have had to have been just the perfect thing for me to say that at the end. So it had an incredibly high bar to jump over, and it did a pull up. It did really well.
It didn't do a muscle up. It did a pull up.
I want to do one thing before we do like grades or whatever we're gonna do.
Do it.
In the last episode, the giraffe scene. Did you guys think that was a CGI giraffe?
I did, but it wasn't.
It was a real fucking giraffe.
Real giraffe.
Yeah.
I remember
thought it was CGI.
I did.
I remember
I thought it was real.
Like, man, that giraffe looks like shit.
Oh, see, okay, so
that's such a shitty looking giraffe.
I live in Florida, and we have this place called Lion Country Safari, and you can literally feed the giraffes there.
Wow.
That's why I was like, that can absolutely be a real fucking giraffe.
Did they look that
Mike
shitty?
Just wanted
why did they pick
giraffe
the ugliest giraffe?
It's real. It's natural. It's not filtered.
That ain't the Toys R Us Jeffrey that I'm used to.
Sure ain't.
Oh man,
that looked like a homo giraffe.
It did. It had like a wet sheen to it.
That was a homeless giraffe. Jesus,
it was interesting.
It was.
It's been living in the wild. I don't know how the infected haven't eaten this thing.
Because man,
that was another thing Selena kept bringing up. Like,
animals
does this affect animals or what? Like, how does this? I need to know. Like,
I don't think it does.
Animals get this thing. Like,
they got brains.
How does that? Like, wouldn't animals just be triggering these cordyceps all the fucking time? Like stepping on shit, and
that's a good point.
I guess they don't.
Well, I mean, regular cordyceps, or at least the ones that most people are familiar with, tend to they attack bullet ants. Like that is just that's just their jam, and they'll make them climb a leaf and just hang there until they die, and then spore out and propagate.
And I guess you'd have to assume, like, in that, like, okay, we've already have, like, a natural kind of example of that. Like, okay, the cordyceps that we already have, they attack ants, but they don't fuck with humans. So, like, the ones in this universe only fuck with humans and don't fuck with foxes or whatever. So that's not that big of a stretch in my, mind.
I thought it was just funny that she
Oh yeah.
thought of that.
I
I
mean,
wonder
They
how
definitely never addressed that in the games.
it's a valid question.
You know, like,
They mentioned it being more of like it
Would let
in this
explain it.
universe. It's spread through like grains and shit.
I thought that was a really cool
Yeah.
explanation. That was like one of those examples of like, oh, that's a great addition. I think that like
Well,
I wish
and
the
that
game had
explains how
done
it
that
got out of
because it's
hand
like
so
how
quick.
the fuck did it like transfer to the whole world or whatever.
they make the infected so scary.
Yeah.
In the beginning, like that autopsy scene is really spooky.
Oh god,
The guy like that kills Tess, like infects
the
Tess, like that.
mycelium. Yeah,
We'll call it the kiss,
Fucking-
but it ain't kiss I ever see.
yeah. Dinner and a date, bro. Before that kind of shit.
It's Kansas City style or Boston style.
Bastin.
And then I feel like after the big battle where we see like 100 infected come out of the ground, I think we see like 2 in the time after that.
It's a good point. I mean, but they are in like, the snow level. So
Yeah, but you were still like,
there are still
The
some
people
frozen boys.
people aren't going to understand the body count that Joel has.
Nah, yeah.
And Ellie too. Like even in Left Behind, Ellie has to kill like 30 fucking people in that
Yeah.
hall. Like it's pretty different. And I don't know. I hope going forward they can kind of blend that in a little more because it is really important
Yeah, it is.
to the characters, even more so to Ellie in the second game. Like she's just a completely different person.
Not enough.
And that's another
clickers.
thing I'm kind of worried about. I don't know if Bella Ramsey can
Pull that off.
become that Ellie. I'm eager to see that.
She's so small, and Ellie's
She's
not a
very
big
small.
person, but like Ellie plays bigger than she is. I feel like
I mean,
She definitely grows and becomes more gangly and like
yeah.
Yeah,
stronger.
she's
for
taller.
sure.
More
But
to
it's
be
gonna
revealed.
take time to make this shit, so.
It's true.
yeah.
I think Bella's kind of done growing. She's
I
an
think,
adult.
she's an adult.
I don't know, but
But I've also seen Christian Bale be like a totally different person. Now, of
Yeah,
course,
but-
he's top tier of
body
body transforming
yeah.
acting, but
What
We'll
are
see.
they
I'm
gonna,
not saying
they're
she
gonna
can't
break
do it.
Bella Ramsey's shins and then reset them like 10 times to give her the extra foot and a half.
I feel like we wanted her I don't want to use the word become shapely because that sets a different tone, but be toned. She wants to tone up. That's the word.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
Tone her up.
We'll see.
we shall see.
Maybe she
so-
should start throwing bricks.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty good.
that's some good workout.
What are our final thoughts,
Rant.
our final grades to wrap this conversation up of season 1 of The Last of Us? Kayla, you could start it off.
Ooh.
What did you think, and what's your overall grade?
Grade or score? I'm
Grade,
confused
score,
by
whatever. We've made this
what
up
that
so many
means.
different times.
Yeah, let's
Stars?
do.
Do you want to do stars?
I
10
want to. I
scale.
want to give a score. I got a score in my mind. It's an 8 for me. To be given halves, I would give it an 8.5 if we're given
Ooh.
halves.
Ooh, you can do that.
I wasn't too nervous going in. I kind of, I was like, oh shit, Pedro Pascal's in this shit. It's gonna be great. It's just golden. And I do feel like I wanted more of him and more development of Joel. I feel like I got that out of Ellie. I really, really enjoyed the Left Behind episode. That is the standout for me. I was just like totally sucked in the entire time. I also really enjoyed, of course, 3, but I also think about 4 a lot. Like when 4 happened, and obviously we knew what was like 4 wasn't that different, the ending of it, but damn, that shit fucking hit like real hard for me. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see more.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll go next, I guess, and say I'm probably right around the same. You said like 8.5. I'm not gonna be a coward, and I'll say a solid
Coward!
8. I'm only doing full numbers here. No, I think I enjoyed the additions. Just kidding with you. I enjoyed the additions. I was a little thrown off by the changes, but by the end, I think I might be the only one who feels like it stuck the landing for me. I really liked that final episode, and honestly, I liked 8 as well. I guess I just liked when it stuck more to the game anyway, you know? So
I enjoyed when they were like, oh shit, this is like totally a video game scene.
Yeah. How about you, Tomas?
That probably go with the solid 8 myself. Like overall, like if I can count Jackie as being my experience, I guess I'd go to an 8.5. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy what they did. The end, a little sloppy, I feel like. But as far as how I'm feeling going into season 2, like I said, I'd be really excited if they played around with the wiggle room they had. Just you got some time in there that's not really addressed in the second video game. Maybe play around with that. It seems like they did pretty good cooking with the, when they were working shop on like some of the liberties they took. I would like to see a little bit more of that going on. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed my experience, and I will watch season 2.
Nice. Mike, wrap it up.
I wanted to give it a 9, but it's like an 8.9 to me. It's like a B plus for me. And it could have been a 10. I don't know. Like if they just had done something with those last 2 episodes. That final line delivery, that okay at the end of the show, I didn't feel anything what I was feeling at the end of that game. And I'm on the camp where Last of Us 2 is unnecessary. It should not have happened. It has affected my feelings towards that first game, that magical experience now. And I'm going to watch it, and I hope that they can, whatever kind of stuff they, chicanery they want to do with the story, do it. Change that shit. Change as much as you want, Neil. You have a second chance. Make it count. All right? Make it count. Do not sully the legacy of Last of Us 1 again.
Oof.
Thank you.
My dog.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that
you
was
heard
it.
it here. We're
Whole reason
giving
it
The
came
Last
on.
of Us Season 1 5 nonsense points out of 6. That's our new scale.
Got a 6.
Oh, man.
We got a 6-point scale. We do it different here, folks.
I don't like that.
Ain't no one
No.
doing it with 6 points. So
Is it like Game
No
Pro where you got like the various like excited faces depending on how good the game is?
yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Oh, but that was
My
fun,
head is not
guys.
exploding. That is not like the reaction. Like that's a 6 out of 6.
Right,
Head
definitely. It's like a mild, like just an ear exploding is a 5, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
gotta take a few Advils.
That was The Last of Us Spoilercast, episode 119 of the Machine of Nonsense. Tell us what you thought of The Last of Us. If you're a fan of the game, what you're excited for in season 2, and I think we're getting a 3rd season as well. So a lot more Last of Us coming at some point, and a lot more of this show coming as well. I would like to. It's International History or Women's History Month or International Women's Month, something to do with women, right? And I feel like we should do something to do with women. I think we need to spotlight.
We should respect it more than Eric does the actual name.
We should.
The month.
I'm just the host. I'm not a historian, folks. Okay.
There you go.
Or a
I think
calendar
you wanted
guy,
to be.
or anything else.
So what do you propose we do?
I
for
think
this
we
month?
should maybe play some legally distinct quiz show game, maybe, or I don't know, maybe do a tier list of our favorite ladies, maybe.
Ooh,
in
Quiz
Quite a-
Eric on facts
Ripley
about
Redemption.
women.
That
Ooh.
Eric just wants Ripley to get another shot at
Yeah, it does.
a character
Deserves
break.
it. She
I do
deserves
After
it.
Rusty gave
Yeah,
it a
you
beat.
guys could just quiz me on special months, and that'll be fun too.
No. It has to be a woman, Eric. It is quizzing you on things about me. like what house I belong to in Hogwarts.
Oh God. Oh, yeah, Ravenclaw, right?
No.
I know. It's Hufflepuff. I watched you play 52 hours of Hufflepuff Mag.
Yeah, but you still told our listeners that I belonged to Ravenclaw.
They
Oh,
don't
jeez.
listen. Don't worry. Oh. That's episode 119 of The Machine of Nonsense. Hit us up on social media. Our email address, machineofnonsense@gmail.com, or at anchor.fm/machineofnonsense. You can leave us a voicemail. This was The Last of Us Spoilercast. We're getting out of here, and we're saying mushrooms.
10
Brick.
points for Gryffindor.